Well, hello, hello. I'm going to be the one to disappoint you today. A hot bod is not enough. I know. Hot, sexy bod's not enough. Yeah, that's the title today. And we're in the text of A Course in Miracles. And of course, the words hot, sexy bod are my own. Nowhere in this course does Jesus say, the hot, sexy bod. No, that's my own way of drawing your attention. It's YouTube, right? So, what we're talking about today is a whole new section of the text. We've moved on to chapter 2, part 3, known as the altar of God. This is a section that's 5 paragraphs long, and there's so much to say about the very foundational centerpiece of this section, paragraph 1, that's all we're going to cover today. One single paragraph. And as always, with A Course in Miracles, every single component part, every single sentence contains the entire thought system. Beautiful. Beautiful and perfectly consistent throughout. Oh, yeah. So, hot, sexy bod's not enough. Right? A strong body is not enough. A muscular body is not enough. A lean body is not enough. And it doesn't matter if you're not lean because you're not a body. We're not bodies. And it's not enough. It's not where the action lies. Now, there are 20 workbook lessons in this workbook for students. And you don't get to it until lesson 201. So if you're not there, I invite you to not skip ahead. I'll just share with you what the idea is. There are 20 days in a row, 20 consecutive lessons that have the central idea, I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. And the rhyming scheme, intentional, so that it sticks. We know deep down that our reality is not the physical body. It's 80% water and it falls apart. It decomposes, it decays. So in truth, it doesn't make any difference if you're freaking ripped and people consider you hot as hell. That really doesn't matter in the end at all. Because the physical body, like everything else in the world, changes. It's impermanent. We love to believe that it's permanent. In fact, we mistake it for who we really are, but we're not a conglomeration of 80% water cells that generate and regenerate until they stop regenerating. We're not a structure, a physical structure that gets old and craps out and loses its vitality completely. That's not who we are, and we know this deep down, and you know it deep down, otherwise you would never have embarked on a spiritual path at all. Right? We're drawn to the path. We're drawn to this collection of practices and disciplines that we call spirituality because we want the peace of God. There's a deep yearning. That's what it is. That's what it is. We can call it whatever we want, and we can refuse to walk the path. We can refuse to forgive. We can refuse to extend the miracle to our brother. We can refuse spirituality completely for right now. Ultimately, we don't. Why? Because we all have this deep inner knowing. And it's a pull. It operates like a pull, doesn't it? Pulling you back, redirecting you to what really matters. So we're using a very important and very helpful visual image today of a structure, a building, a temple, a church, a chapel, synagogue, mosque, whatever you want to call it. Let's just use the word temple here for the purposes of this video. And it's a reference to an outer structure and then an inner altar. So when we're talking about atonement, when we identify with the ego, we try to run and hide from salvation, from atonement, from the truth of who we really are, from accepting that the separation never occurred. We would like to believe that, yes, it did, and we're separate beings running around, competing for what we deem to be scarce resources, and all of that. But we mistake this human body for who we are. And when we do that, we mess ourselves up completely. We fight, we compete, we battle, we go to war, physically or mentally, emotionally. We attack and we believe we can be attacked. Accepting atonement for ourselves means we accept that the separation never occurred. Yet here in the world, we behave oftentimes as though we wish it were real. We want it to have occurred. We clearly want it to have occurred. So we identify with the physical body and its pleasures, thinking that can bring us the peace of God. And it can't, because even looking in the mirror and finding yourself hot and sexy, if other people think you're hot and sexy and your DMs are blowing up, that sort of thing, you know what I'm talking about. Even that, it may gratify us for a little bit. Hot, sexy lover, you know, a hot session with your partner can only last so long. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. The relationship itself isn't permanent either. Even if you're happily married, one of you is going to make the transition before the other, or you're both going to make it at the same time, but you're not going to be here in this thing. You're not in this thing now either. We have the opportunity right now to choose God, to choose the thought system of the Holy Spirit, to choose love, light, to choose to awaken. We have that opportunity right now. So we run away from the atonement, and we sometimes begin to consider the physical body, this thing, as a temple, which is actually, as Jesus points out, a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction because here in the world, one begins to take care of oneself. It's certainly better, isn't it, to be healthy than unhealthy. Now, if you have a chronic illness or something like that, then you may not have a lot of choice on the level of form, but we always have the present moment choice to choose forgiveness, to choose love and the thought system of the Holy Spirit. So even if you're really sick, you can choose that in your mind. Will it alter your physical experience to the point where this chronic illness or condition is cured? Maybe not. Again, remember, this course doesn't aim necessarily to cure physical ailments. That is simply a byproduct in this thought system because it operates on your mind. So to consider the body as a temple is a start. It's a nice start. It's not enough. What really matters is not the outer structure, but the altar at its center. That's the heart of a temple, isn't it? The altar. Now, this is just a visual image, and it's a teaching and learning device. But that's the essence, that's the core, that's the energy, so to speak, from which everything else stems. So we're invited to place our focus on what matters, the altar, rather than the exterior structure, the foundation, the concrete slab that the building sits on, the walls, the decorations, the elaborate frescoes and artwork. I mean, there are some elaborate buildings in this world, aren't there? In every spiritual tradition that uses a building, and all of the major religions use buildings as places of worship, as places to congregate. And, well, many of them are quite visually stunning, aren't they? So we're told right here in the Course that to place our emphasis on the exterior structure is running away. It's misplaced focus. What really matters is the altar. What really matters is what's within. It's the development of the vision of Christ, spiritual sight. And the beauty and the power and the love of the altar can't actually be seen with the physical eyes. And guess what? Spiritual sight sees only the altar and can't see the building. There's no container, there is no roof, there are no walls. Spiritual sight sees only the core, the essence, and the body's eyes see only the exterior. This is intended to be a helpful analogy for us. So a hot, sexy bod is not enough. I mean, really, it doesn't last anyway. So nobody's saying don't exercise. Nobody's saying don't feel good. Nobody's saying don't eat well, right? Actually, on the level of form, it does matter. We're not a body. And here, on the level of form, our physical health does matter, actually, doesn't it? It matters quite a bit because it matters in how we show up and communicate to the world. So what I invite you to do is something that we're invited to do throughout this course, is give this to the Holy Spirit for his purposes. All of it, all of your thoughts, your relationships, your job, the body. Give it over to your inner teacher for your inner teacher's purpose. There's nothing wrong with going to the gym several times a week. I do it. I do it all the time. It's a preference. I enjoy feeling vigorous, but real power is not of the physical body. It's entirely possible to live life normally, what we would consider normally here in the world, without believing in its reality in any way, shape, or form. Give it over to your inner teacher and allow your inner teacher to direct you. This is foundational to this entire course. It's not enough to devote all of your time and care and attention to the exterior. Apply this to your home, right? To your car. I mean, it doesn't make any difference how detailed and spotless and shiny your automobile is. It really actually does not matter at all in the overall scheme of things, because we still have to forgive. We're still going to have forgiveness opportunities, even if we're ripped and our partner wants to jump us. I mean, really, we're still going to have to forgive. There's nothing wrong with enjoying this life at all. I mean, in fact, we should, right? But let's think about what it means to not make it real. This is not who we are. So why does it matter how you show up? Well, it matters greatly because other people need you. There are people that only you can reach. There are people only I can reach with my message. I don't even know who they may be, maybe some of you. But there are people that only you can reach. That means that they will respond best out of all of the spiritual messages out there. They will respond best to you. Now, do you have to turn on the camera and microphone and broadcast to a worldwide audience like I do? No, of course not. You don't. But listen to your inner teacher, get in touch with your inner teacher, and your inner teacher will tell you how to show up. You will be shown, you will be instructed on how to reach the people that you're supposed to reach. You could do anything really in life and make it holy and make it beautiful and very effective in the sense of spirituality if you give it over to your inner teacher. Doesn't matter where you live or how old you are, your gender, doesn't matter what you do for work. This is well, it's a teaching learning experience between you and your inner teacher, which is who's speaking to you right now. It's your inner teacher that spurs you on. It's your inner teacher that shows you what you're hearing here or in any other spiritual book, video, podcast is true. Your inner teacher is speaking to you. And how do you know, like really, really know if it's true? Put it into practice, and your experience will show you that it's true. So, a hot, sexy bod is not enough. It's not enough. It's not going to be hot and sexy forever. But the altar, the core of who we are as the Christ, the Son of God, is beautiful. It's radiant. And it does not change. We've never left our source. So this one paragraph is a powerful invitation to all of us to focus on what matters, to place our attention where it belongs, on what's inside, not outside. On the altar, not the walls and the structure of the building. Remember, the vision of Christ can't see the building at all. All right. So thank you, as always, for tuning in, and feel welcome to leave comments or questions here. I'm happy to address those. And it's so much fun that this is an international audience as well. So I know many of you are joining from Europe and Australia, as well as North America, where I'm broadcasting from. So thank you so much for joining me. The subscription button is right down here, the little red arrow. I'd love to have you join me on a regular basis. I offer several of these videos a week as we go through the text of A Course in Miracles. All right, so thank you as always for joining me, and I will see you soon.